Good morning, Jackednnerdy fans. Jeremy here with a non-spoiler review for Disney Pixar's Lightyear. Before we get underway with that review, I would just like to remind everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss out on a video. And if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you give them a thumbs up. And also, if you are enjoying the channel and you want more content, especially behind the scenes stuff, feel free to check out our Instagram at Jackednnerdy. Link will be down in the description for you there. So, with that out of the way, Disney Pixar's Lightyear. This was directed by Angus MacLean. And has obviously some of the voice talents of Chris Evans, Keke Palmer, Peter Sohn, and also I was not expecting it, and was not aware of it going into the movie. Taika Waititi also does a voice in this movie, which was a pleasant surprise. I do enjoy Taika Waititi in everything he does. He has a very unique voice, and obviously always brings a really good comedy element to everything that he does. So lots of A-list actors in there, and voice actors doing a great job. So casting-wise, could not fault this movie at all. I mean, it was a little unusual not having the voice of Tim Allen voicing Buzz, but Chris Evans did a fantastic job, and I could not fault him at all for that. So, of course, this is a Disney Pixar film, obviously connected to the Toy Story franchise. A lot of people going into this movie, or when they heard of this movie, would have been questioning, well, how does it relate, or how does it tie in to the Toy Story franchise. And Angus MacLean, the director, did a fantastic job of clarifying that and setting all of those kind of questions to rest straight away within the first few seconds of the film. So, you know, as soon as it starts, you kind of go, oh, okay, yep, I get it. And then the story begins, kind of thing. So he did do a very good job there. It wasn't wishy-washy or anything like that. The scripting and the story, so scripting wise, couldn't fault it at all. There wasn't anything that really kind of really didn't fit within the story, so to speak. It was kind of, it's a kids movie, it's a cartoon. You've got to make allowances for imagination a little bit, and for things to be a bit out there. It's not grounded in reality and physics and this, that, and the other. So scripting wise, story wise, it was really good. As with all Pixar films, they tug on your heartstrings at certain points. If you're an adult and you're watching it, I guarantee you will shed a tear in the first 20 minutes of this movie, 30 minutes. You will shed a tear. I'll admit it, I did. I shed a tear right at the beginning. It was only for a few minutes, and then you move on. So Pixar are notorious for that. Look at Up and some of those other ones that they've done in the past. So so they do get you, and what have you. There's some good humor in this movie. I have to say, so one character that really just stood out and almost overshadowed everything else in a way was Socks, the robotic cat. You've probably seen him in the trailers and things like that. I love this character, and I'm not a cat person. I'm not a cat person at all, but Socks the robot cat is absolutely fantastic in this movie. So I mean that, Socks alone, made the film very, very enjoyable. And then obviously everything else is just kind of extra and keeps you entertained and what have you. So look, directing, acting, scripting, story, it was all pretty good. As I said in my kind of fresh out of the cinema reaction, I enjoyed the movie. I had a good time. But I'll give a few more thoughts right at the end when I give my final verdict. I'll give a couple of points on things that I didn't like, and there's not many. Really, there's probably only two things that I disliked about the movie. One was it's more directed towards the adults who grew up with like the first and maybe the second Toy Story. It's whilst kids within maybe the age demographic of 5 to 10 may enjoy it, my 3-year-old, I wouldn't be able to sit him down to watch it. Unlike the original Toy Story, like I could get him to watch that. He would laugh at the humor and the characters and the colors and everything. So whilst he would enjoy, he would be able to sit down and kind of enjoy and have a bit of fun with the Toy Story movies. This movie, I wouldn't be able to get him to sit down and watch. He wouldn't connect with it. He wouldn't, it's a lot darker. There's not all that much humor that would appeal to young children. It's more of an adult type of humor or older children humor. So as a kid's movie and as a connection to that Toy Story franchise, I was a bit, miffed at that. I thought they could have maybe done a little bit more to make it more appealing to the younger kids. So there's that. Now, the final thing that I will say that I did not like, and I may cop a lot of grief about this, is the whole woke culture thing that's going on with Disney at the moment. If you don't know, Disney are going through a bit of a woke phase at the moment where they've mandated that there has to be a LGBTQ plus character in every single property that they release at the moment. Now, I don't have an issue whatsoever with the LGBTQ plus community. I have no issues with them, whatsoever as individuals. All of that, and I have no issue with there being characters from the LGBTQ community in movies as a whole. I've got no issue with there being people, characters, whatever, in a story who are of that sexual orientation. What I have an issue with is that when they shoehorn these characters in to the detriment of the story or to the detriment of the product. So like forcing a character into a movie where they don't fit. In this story, they make a point of pointing out this person is in a relationship and they are it's a lesbian relationship or whatever you want to call it, and they make a point of putting it right in the front, saying, I'm in a relationship with her and we're happy and this, that and the other, and then, but then it pulls you straight out of the story. It's like you're watching along, you're in the story, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wokeism. And then back to the story. And so it just pulls you straight out. You lose kind of, you lose connection with the story. You lose momentum. Plus, also, it also didn't fit the story because, spoiler alert, 1 minute they're telling you that they're in this relationship and they're happy and blah, blah, blah. Then literally 30 seconds later, they're pregnant. And then the story continues like nothing's happened, and you're just kind of like, hang on, it didn't fit with the story. It pulled you out of the story, and for that brief period of time, none of it made sense. So that was the issue that I had. It wasn't with the fact that I don't have an issue with there being LGBTQ characters in a film or a movie or a show or whatever, but it's got to fit within the continuity of the story. And in this particular case, it didn't. It did not fit with the continuity of this story one bit, in my opinion. And not only did it not fit with the continuity of the story, it disrupted the story, it pulled you out, and it just didn't fit whatsoever. So I apologize if I've offended anyone. That was not my intention. I'm just saying this is one thing that did not sit right with me. And according to reports that I've heard, even during the editing and process, I have heard reports that the director wanted to pull that scene entirely from the movie because he felt the same way, that it did not fit with the continuity of the story and XYZ. And due to pressure from Disney and from Disney employees, he was put in a position where he was forced to keep that scene in the movie. Now, this is just a report I've heard. I don't know if there's any truth to it. This is just what I've heard. But in that statement, the director had similar thoughts to me and what have you, and unfortunately he was put in a position where he couldn't do what he wanted to do, which I feel bad for him because it's supposed to be his film, his vision, his direction, and then he's getting studio interference and other people interfering. So I feel a bit sorry for him, and I would have been interested to know how the film would have been if he did do what he wanted and what have you. So anyway, moving on, I want to move on from that because, like I said, that's just one thing that I didn't quite like about the movie that just kind of, didn't work for me. And, so that's my opinion. Now, moving on to the things that I did like. Like I said, the voice acting was fantastic. The humor, albeit mainly adult humor, and less kiddie humor. The humor worked for me. I enjoyed myself. I had a great time. Like I said, the character of Socks brought a great element to it. I always wanted to see more of him, which was great. Hearing his voice, was really cool. Like I said, I had a pleasant surprise when Taika Waititi kind of showed up, in it. He also brings, obviously, some very good comedic elements. The animation was top notch. It was visually quite good. Like I said, it's a bit of a darker film than the kind of the bright, colourful Toy Story and everything that we're used to. And like I said previously, and in my out of the cinema reaction, they did a fantastic job with just tying it into the franchise and what have you. So, with that being said, my final thoughts on the film. Whilst I did enjoy it, I would not probably go back and watch it again in any hurry. I won't go back to the cinemas and see it again. I'll definitely wait for it to come out on streaming or, because it will be out on Disney Plus in a couple of months, I'm sure. So I might watch it again on there, maybe. Or I'll probably actually leave it a couple of years and wait till my son's a little bit older. Maybe when he's 5 or something, he might sit down and watch it and enjoy it and get a bit of a kick out of it. As I said earlier in the review, he's 3, I don't think I'll be able to get him to sit down and watch this. The colours aren't bright enough. There's no kind of real young child humour or anything like that. If anything, they might find it a bit scary at points. And comparing it to some other animation that's come out recently over the last couple of months, especially the main last cartoon that came out on wide release in cinemas, and I think was The Bad Guys, which my son loves to death. He loves that movie. We watch it very, very regularly. He enjoys the humor, the characters, the colors, all of that. So comparing Lightyear to The Bad Guys, I'll pick The Bad Guys hands down every single time. The humor in that appeals to both young audiences and older audiences. It's a lighter, brighter, kind of film. If I had to compare the two and pick one between those two, hands down, I'd pick The Bad Guys over this. And comparing Lightyear to the Toy Story franchise. Now, I remember being a young child and watching Toy Story 1 and loving it and watching it again and again and again and again. I haven't watched any of the other Toy Stories, so Toy Story 2, 3, and 4 I have not watched. I've seen snippets of, but I haven't watched from beginning to end. But just going off of Toy Story 1, comparing it to this, again, Toy Story 1, lighter, brighter, really entertaining characters for young children, wacky, kind of different things and all that kind of stuff. The Toy Story franchise compared to this does appeal to the younger audience more. As I said, this is a movie more directed to the adults who grew up with Toy Story, but are now older. So it's just trying to appeal to the nostalgia aspect of those people, and obviously those people have the money that pay for the tickets and everything. So look, my final verdict is, while it was entertaining and enjoyable, it's not my favourite out of the franchise. I wouldn't go back in a hurry to watch it. But look, that being said, I don't regret spending the money. I don't regret spending the time. Everyone involved did a great job. So, take that as it is. I want to know your thoughts, mate. Have you seen this movie? Are you excited to see this movie? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with my likes, my dislikes, whatever, what have you? Let us know. I'll be interested to see if I'm the only person with these thoughts and views on this movie, or it might be that everyone else loves this movie. So I'd be interested to find out. So hit us up in the comments below your thoughts on this movie, and also if there's anything else that you would like to see me do a review of, suggestions, recommendations, whack them down in the comments. I do read all of them. So if there's something that you want to see, let me know. Hit me up in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And check out our Instagram @Jackednnerdy. Okay, until next time, guys, stay jacked, stay nerdy.